This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
Josh, how are you feeling today?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's funny because you and I have been talking about something, and I think it's important for you to share with everybody, but it's about how you feel in each moment versus how other people take it.
Right.
And how we tend to hold on to things and kind of think that that's how you always feel when it's actually not.
Right.
And before you say anything, I just want to say it reminds me so much of how when you and I have a disagreement and you walk out of the room and you come back and it's like nothing happened.
Right.
And you're over it.
Yeah.
You're done. In the meantime, I'm still mad at what I was mad about, but now I'm mad because how can you be fine?
That sounds like a you problem.
I know. But it is interesting how you can let go of feelings so fast. And
which is funny to say about it in general, I guess, because people that don't know someone with autism might think that we're emotional bricks.
Oh, right. Which is very untrue.
Right. Which is why I find the humor in that.
Yeah. So, the thing that I wanted to ask you about is that you need to help me to understand it because I'm not sure that I even have it just right.
Okay.
But that is that you have the capacity to very quickly move out of things that are bumming you out, or that you feel bad about yourself over, or you feel bad about a situation. It's the reason I'm interested in this is because it seems to me from the outside that there are some things that really stick with you. And I think that I know something about that, but I want you to tell me what you were... explain what you were trying to explain to me earlier that I was too dense to quite catch on earlier. I think I've got it, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
So, one thing that I have... that I finally was able to put into words and to be able to explain it to anyone else was that whenever I'm make a statement of how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, I'm making a factual statement of that moment. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a long-term emotion thing. It's that you're asking me how I'm doing. I'm telling you how I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
As the example.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that can't change. And it more than likely will change in the future from that moment.
You mean like in the next moment?
Even then, yeah. And it's how things are. It's how things are, not how they were, not how they will be, but how they are right now. And it's...
If it's a statement of fact, does it not, are you not expressing how your emotions about a scenario, or are you just making a statement that about the scenario?
Uh, it's a it's like a descriptor. It doesn't say what the item is of what it's describing, but it will help explain about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a factual thing. It doesn't have emotions attached to it. It can be about an emotion. It can be, but the statement in and of itself is not emotional. It's a statement of fact.
Okay. Do you have an example?
The one that I just used. How are you feeling? I'm feeling okay. It's true. It's not emotionally based, but it's describing it factually.
So
I've learned not in that particular question. I've learned not to do my life story, as we've talked about before, but but it's not emotionally based.
So, does that come from being taught how to interact, like the banter? Or is this something that's different than that?
It's not banter. It's not a. That particular example was from a pleasantry, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm. It doesn't have to be used as a pleasantry, so I'm using that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, there was a time when you were clinically depressed before you got different kinds of treatment for that.
Right.
And before that, you felt you felt heavier all the time. You know, like just
Like a weight was on me or something. Yeah.
right, exactly. And that you described it before as being dark. You know, like all you could see was a certain thing, and around that was darkened in,
Yeah.
or black even. And then once you went through that treatment, TMS.
Yeah. The jokingly called electric shock therapy.
Right. Which it is not. Anybody that's listening, but you can always look up TMS.
Yeah.
So, can I say that because I cannot remember what it stands for, because it's just, I just can't. Anyway, it might come to me before this is over.
Therapeutic something. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, it's the thing that we wore this helmet for about a half hour, if that, a few days a week for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been shown to help to lift the depression, and it worked for you.
Yeah.
But then, so now if you're saying there's no emotion connected to a lot of things, it's just a fact. Was it still back then? Even it does. So is it separate from your emotions that you're feeling? You're just stating a fact.
I'm not necessarily just saying about my emotions or whatever. I'm saying that if someone is asking me something and they're asking me a serious question that about me that they need to know, I'm going to be factual about it. I may joke about it after, even right after, but I'm not going to my response is not going to be emotionally based. It's going to be factual. It's going to be explaining what the answer is, and I'm not explaining it very well, I don't think. But
Well, okay. So, first of all, it's called transcranial magnetic stimulation.
you were stuck on that.
Yes, I was stuck on that. As I look you in your eyes as you're explaining something to me, I'm going through the Rolodex. Anyway, because I didn't want to just say that and not tell everybody what it was. Okay. So here's a question that I have for you then. There's a difference in what you're talking about and something that causes you to get so overstimulated that you can't let it go. Right?
Yes.
When that happens, that feels very different to me. That's not something that you're stating a fact. That's something that you can't move beyond until until you gain more information about it, or there's been more time that has passed. A good example is the day that you were at the library and there was like the powdery kind of stuff all over the books.
Yeah.
And that upset you so much that if I had asked you, how are you, you would have said, I'm like kind of off balance now, or you would have said, I'm upset.
I could whenever I got home, I could barely tell you what was going on. I was done for the day.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying to you is that what you're saying, that you're just stating a fact in that moment, as I'm trying to understand exactly what you're talking about, but to say that you're not talking about those times, right, when things have been over the top for you, where you've become super stressed, and there's just too much stimulation from whatever that was. So this was an upset that you didn't, for a number of reasons, and it just stuck with you, and you couldn't move past it, and then you kept being so stressed. It kept stressing you out for such a long period of time that you had a hard time functioning, and you just had to go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not talking about those moments.
Right. And I'm talking about oh my gosh, I'm trying to and my mind is blank.
So I think that what you're saying is that there are times when you're asked questions and you give an answer and other people can get stuck on your answer, whereas you don't have that problem.
Right.
You just keep moving forward.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
And I'll give you a prime example. It's a perfect example, actually. And that is when you go to a therapist.
Yes.
And they ask a question and you say something that's really kind of a non-factor to you.
Right.
But you say it because it's recent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there and easy to grab, as a statement or as something happened.
Yeah.
And not that you're really upset about it, but just that's so recent that when asked how you're doing, this just happened. Yeah. So,
and
instead of, I'll let you finish.
And I know that with it doesn't even have to be that question really,
right?
Or even just a retelling of what's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the therapists or doctors that I've seen that have had this that I've had this occur with will hear a part of a sentence and hone in on that, focus on that, when that's not what it's like you said, it's a non-issue. and it's like a dog that won't let go.
Oh, right.
And it's like, I don't know. This isn't.
And so that's really hard for people to get past. But for you, it is because once somebody starts talking about that, it's and focusing on something. It's not just them focusing on it. It begins to aggravate you because now it's put in terms of something that's not really truly you.
Right.
Not what you're about, not what matters to you.
Right. And there have been many times where at a doctor's visit, that's all they can focus on. And I'm like, why are you focusing on this? This isn't why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Or this isn't an issue for me. Why?
You know, I have an example today of something that it's different because it's not exactly what you're talking about, but it makes enough sense that you'll see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember just a short time ago, I had problems with my liver, and I was really, really sick. The doctor called, said I had to go to the emergency room, and then I spent in and out of the emergency room for many, many times over a couple of months there. And I went to the doctor today because I had to do a follow-up on that and get some more blood work and stuff done. It's kind of like just a marker, to see what numbers. And I don't know yet because it didn't come back yet.
Right.
But the doctor was reading my chart that people from that time frame wrote. And I'm going to say something that is not in there, but he thought it was in there. Okay, so what he said was, so you have problems with alcohol? And I said, no. He goes, so you're not alcoholic anymore? And I said, wait, no, hold on a second. Where did you get that? And I told him, I said, this is while I'm on the table and he's pushing on my liver to see if it, it's painful and, that part of the test that they do. Anyway, I said, who is it in this hospital that I can go talk to about that statement that's been put in my record? Because that is blatantly false.
Right.
Now, if I had been an alcoholic, I would say I'm an alcoholic. I think. I think.
Or you would say exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I really don't know because I'm not an alcoholic, so I don't know what I would say if I was an alcoholic. But this is what I do know. That whenever this happened to my liver, doctors, the Western culture, absolutely focus on alcohol.
Yeah.
And they go, so how much did you have to drink? And, before. And so I said, show me exactly where it says that, and who was it, and what was the date.
Right.
And, because I was going to take that to the head of the hospital and say, this is not okay, that this is in my record.
Right.
Anyway, we went back over and looked at it, and he goes, oh, no, it says, and he highlighted this line. It said, patient and her husband denies excessive alcohol consumption. Which means basically the way that doctors say it is when you say no, they say you deny it. They don't put no, that isn't the case. They just say that we deny it. Because they don't know, I guess. At any rate, that's the kind of thing that would make you crazy.
Yeah.
And it is a thing that, why was I saying it's kind of like that? I know, it's just funny. But it was, what was my point with that?
I guess.
I know what it was. That I'm not an alcoholic. Before my liver had problems, when they asked me, did you have anything to drink? I had 2 beers in 1 month prior to what happened. And for the whole month, since the liver stuff, I quit drinking entirely. That's where he was saying, oh, so you quit drinking now, so you're not,
Because it's implied.
Yeah. But they say, do you drink? Now the answer is no. No.
It was almost no to begin with.
Exactly. So, shoot, I was just about to say it and then I lost it again. Do you remember how when I had meningitis and it messed up my thought process and everything?
Mm-hmm.
It comes up sometimes where I have days that are really still difficult for me to stay stay on topic and stay focused, you know?
Right.
It still does that. And something that's really weird too is that when after I had meningitis, when I don't remember the days in the hospital, but when I came out, like certain parts of me were I couldn't feel it, like my forehead and stuff. I couldn't feel it, and the back of my neck, and it's like that today. I don't have meningitis right now. I don't understand it, but anyway. So I'm glad that you're here to help keep me on track.
I can always just poke fun at you. How about that?
You can do that too. You can do that too.
And that's
so
banter.
That's banter. So what I'm saying is that what you don't like is when somebody gets fixated on something, just like today when he said that I drank a lot, and I'm saying, and it instantly upset me because
Right.
here we are taking the time on this visit that's limited
Right,
in time, and that's what we're talking about?
Is something that's not true.
Exactly.
Right.
And so that makes you crazy, that kind of scenario. And the reason I brought it up is because to me, it resembles when you're in a session with a counselor, therapist, or psychiatrist, and they hone in on something that's just not even a thing.
Right. And it could have been a part of me explaining something else or
Mm-hmm.
trying to do an analogy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they focus on the absolute wrong part of what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah. And and that's...
Okay, so let's take that out of like the therapist's office then.
Okay.
So, do you find that in everyday life that you get misunderstood when you say something?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that, so that would be in like the house, your family, and outside your family?
Yes. So both.
Uh-huh.
More so out of the family, I guess. At least out of you and Dad.
Mm-hmm.
More you,
Mm-hmm.
because you get me.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I can try and say something, or someone is trying to talk to me about a whatever, and
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just say that there was a time that you helped me to understand that sometimes you would do that. This is in quotes. You would shut down
Mm-hmm.
because feeling like you need to say the right thing is extremely stressful.
Yeah.
And when you say that I get you, I think that that's a true statement. I believe that. But I also know that you and I have had a conversation about that a long time ago, where I said to you, if you say the wrong words, if you said something that is not what you meant to say, it didn't come out the way you meant to say it, and it just doesn't, it's not what you want to have said in that conversation, to just say, I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
And then we forget the first statement altogether.
Right.
Right? You having that permission, that understanding that
It's not what you're trying to say, and that while trying to come up with the right words is...
Yeah. So I think if someone has, I use the word permission in the way of, you have...
You're acknowledging that I'm going to have issues,
Mm-hmm.
and that...
When you let...
and that I can be comfortable
Mm-hmm.
enough with you to try and say something, and that if it comes out wrong, to let you know that that's not really what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second to try and come up with the right words.
Yes. And
or to talk through it out loud so that you can understand.
Right. Right.
So it's not really permission. It kind of is, but
Well, I guess. I mean, I'm using it. Yes, it's just broad term of just
yeah,
in broad terms of just saying that you have absolute, permission to say however you want to say it, and then we will stop, and then you start. Right?
Yeah.
Erase all that, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
that-
no stress.
it's that I won't get in trouble for saying the wrong thing while trying to find the right words, as long as it's not meant maliciously or whatever.
Yes, although that's the first time I've ever heard it put that way, and I've never thought of it that way.
Right.
Because I don't think you would get in trouble for you.
Like, I can't intentionally say the wrong thing to get to the... That's not what we're talking about.
No.
Right.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yes. Yes. So, okay, so let's get back to the topic then. When you say something, and my point in bringing up the depression was that when you say something and it's with this heaviness, and that's what seems to be, kind of your state, it's very difficult to not be concerned about that.
Right.
And your well-being. You're saying now, when you say something, it's just, and I think that I heard you say something to the effect of, when you weren't talking to your an ABA,
Mm-hmm.
that you say something, and it's if you say something about yourself, and other people will be worried about how you are, your state of mind, how you
Right.
are. It's a big concern now. When what you're saying is, no, I was stating the facts in that moment.
Yeah.
Like you're not really.
It's that I'm not... You're asking me... Well, let me try that again.
Okay.
So, if I'm going to say... with that example, that I'm in a depressed mood, I say something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm gonna feel that way forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm whatever. It's that that's how I'm feeling at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm not saying is that I'm going to feel that way forever. Because I guess I kind of think of it as a given that that's how I'm feeling, but I don't know if I'm going to feel that way 5 minutes from now.
Well,
I'm saying I say it as a given because I have not put it into words before like this, so I'm...
yeah, sure.
But it's that, why would I always feel like this? In this statement, why would I always feel that? I'm not. I haven't in the past, so why would that be a forever statement? And
Well, it's part of communication in that when you have a conversation with somebody, especially when it's somebody that cares about you, that loves you, and they ask you, a question, or you make a statement that maybe you're, feeling, like you're upset about something, or you're just kind of just not doing so well.
mm-hmm.
In my world, and it's your world too, because, we live together. So in my world, if I hear you say something that is not that it doesn't even have to be something that I'm worried about you in regards to that, but just that, yeah, if you were having if you could tell if you were having an emotional time, or if you were having a, exceptionally difficult time with something, I would come back later and ask you how you're doing.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I'm coming to you holding you to what you said.
Right.
It's just a check-in.
Right.
And that's what I
do. That's what
that's
you've
just
done.
what I do.
Yeah.
And so that's yeah. So, and not everybody does that. All families are different,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, not just me, but I'm saying that somebody, if you had friends that know you, and or the D&D guys, or people at the library, or
Right.
extended family.
Right.
If they knew that you were going through something, they might ask you how you're doing.
Right.
With that particular situation.
Yeah. And I get that.
And you also get from the other side, because of all the things that the therapies that you've been through, that I'll give you an example that's very concrete.
Okay.
When somebody in the family has passed away. So, you were very clear-headed, and you would do exactly what I just asked, which is to find out if I'm doing okay. Which oftentimes with you, in that regard, it's not so much you saying something, but you would hold your hand out and you would squeeze my hand. Oftentimes that's how you show your concern and consideration.
And honestly, that example doesn't really come naturally at all. It's it's a thing where I know, or I can see that you're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that you need some kind of support. And I don't know if there's something else going on or whatever that I can't talk to you about or whatever, but I know you need support right then, so I offer what I can.
Mm-hmm. And it's perfect, because you got these big old mitts.
I warm your hands up so often, it's ridiculous.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I don't know how your hands stay warm all the time. It's like you don't know how mine stay cold all the time. I don't even know about that. But that's something that you've learned too. Like, how many times have you looked at the charts of the different faces?
And say that's wrong, that's wrong?
Yes, but once you get past that, they would use those to help you to learn emotions and facial expressions, and how somebody might be feeling, or how you might look if you're feeling a certain way.
Right.
So that you can catch on. Now, I use the example of when we've had family pass away, because that was, I think, for you, a clear indication that around here people were not okay.
Yeah.
I think that was an easy one for you, that you got, that this happened, you're okay, but from experience, when Grandpa passing years ago, and us talking about it so much, that you understand that people they experience something like that in an individual way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with Grandpa, he wasn't doing well for years.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that he was not doing well and was getting worse.
Yeah.
And whenever he finally did pass, I felt relief.
Mm-hmm.
because he was no longer in pain.
Right. So, explain to me one more time what it is exactly that you're talking about when it's just a snapshot, kind of, I think is what you're saying, is that, okay, here, like, click, there's the picture.
Yeah. That's a good example, though. A good simile or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is that a picture is from a moment in time.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm still feeling the same way, the same things I was feeling when that picture was taken.
Right. And do you think that people always think that you're feeling the last way that you told them you were feeling?
I think that it's no, not all the time. I guess it depends on how long ago it was that they asked.
Well, we've already established you can walk out of a room and back in and be fine when you were just frustrated with me.
Yeah.
You know, you go do
Yeah.
something else, come right back, and you're just like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, excuse me, we were just having a disagreement. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
What was your question then?
Do you feel that people expect that you're feeling the same way as you were the last time that they had a conversation with you or saw you?
What was the first part? I'm not. Do I think that other people keep expectations of me or something?
No. So what I'm saying is that you're saying it's just a snapshot.
Yeah.
And you were saying that people could think that you know, around here some, but especially outside of the house, that you feel what you've expressed earlier to them, not realizing that you're able to bounce back so fast or to move through something so fast. If you tell someone that you're really upset,
Mm-hmm.
you know, chances are pretty high the next time you see them, they're going to say, hey, how'd that thing turn out?
Right.
You know, how you feeling about that thing? You know,
Well,
and if it's a counselor, they're going to, you know, say, and
Yeah.
tell me how you feel.
I'm having difficulty focusing on what a question is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to follow along, and I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm
So I'm
I'm not.
having
I
one of
guess
those
I'm.
days too. Maybe it wasn't the
Yeah.
meningitis. Maybe it's just the, I don't know, the cosmos.
I don't know, but I'm not hearing questions, or I'm hearing somewhat of a question.
So I'll stop asking questions. Can you explain one more time your thoughts on how, and you said it was a perfect example of the picture taking a snapshot.
Right.
It's just that moment.
Right. That that just because I'm feeling that way at that moment does not mean that I'm always going to feel that way. And even
Yeah, good.
yeah, it's that I may make a statement that I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement ends at that.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to feel that way.
So is this kind of like a revelation for yourself?
Kind of, yeah. It's it's partially for myself, but also a revelation of how I can explain it to others, even though I'm not doing very well, it seems. That I can say something and absolutely mean it and feel it and everything else in a moment, but it's a statement based off of a certain point of time, or a certain point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, at least, I have the understanding that that's not always going to be the same. That I'm not always going to be feeling that.
Oh, I get it. So you're just at a point in your life now that you're realizing that this, like in the moment, that you can look at something and go, okay, this is not going to last forever.
No, I am getting to the point where I can explain that.
Okay.
To other people.
Okay.
That I've had trouble putting that into words to... Obviously, I'm still having trouble putting that into words.
Well, it's kind of a new thought process for you.
Yeah. And that it's something that I've found strange, that a lot of people may continue to think a certain thing from what I've said, and yet I could meet them much later or see them much later, whatever, and they will still think that I'm feeling that way, or so.
Okay.
I
So a
don't know.
lot of times, I just think that life is that is that way. So you see somebody that you haven't seen for a while, and you'll say, "Oh, the last time we were together, we were doing this, or we went here, we went there."
I'm trying to come up with an example that isn't like that.
Oh, okay.
And it's because I know I've had them. I'm just trying to think of examples today is not happening.
Okay.
I don't...
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But does it feel good to have this new understanding? Because the words will come.
Yeah.
The words will come. You'll be able to, you have more time to process that. You'll be able to articulate that.
Yeah.
In a way that you're happy with.
Yeah. And I guess, yeah.
Are you done?
I'm checking out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That is okay. All right. Well, it sounds like, so I didn't have this initial conversation with you. It was something that you worked on with through ABA.
Mm-hmm.
And
as soon as I
come...
said it, I was like, hold on, I have to get this down.
Yeah. Right. Well, so you know what we'll do is, you can even bring that up to him, and you guys go over it one more time, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's pretty cool, because you're talking about things that you haven't before.
Right.
So that's always a good thing. Yeah. I think I get what you're saying, but I'm not quite sure I do. But but that's just the way it's going to have to be for today, anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all right. But anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Because Josh, even though we didn't fully, I think, I get to the end here. I think that
I've
to
explain
it
it
completely.
today.
Yes, I think you did. There were some
Yeah.
really good points there. So yeah, good job. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We just appreciate you so much.
We're almost at 200 podcasts.
This is 198.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. Everybody, I've always asked you to please give us 5 stars. If you do that, that will be fantastic. We appreciate you. And hope you're having a great day and a great life. And enjoy this sunshine. Hope you're not too hot out there.
Yeah.
Boy, it's kind of stifling. It's so hot here.
Yeah.
But anyway, drink lots of water, stay in the shade, jump in a pool. Listen, only jump in a pool if you have permission. If it's not your pool, because that's a whole set of issues.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you next week. Love you.
Bye.